Hello and welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And if you're listening to us right now on iTunes, go ahead and leave a 5-star review. Thank you very much. And everybody who's left a good review, I appreciate them so much. Check out my stand-up dates. I'm going to be, I'm going to be in Morris Plains, New Jersey at the Dojo East. June 12th. That's in Morris Plains, New Jersey. That's going to be an awesome show. Get tickets for that. Go to my website, ChrissieMayr.com, for all my Jersey people. And then I'm going to be in Vegas, I think, later this month. And then again in September, Texas. I finally got dates again to come back to Texas in September as well. I think it's going to be Vegas, like September 11th and 12th. And then Dallas the following week. So I'm very excited to get back. Yeah, just planning my dates, planning things out for the fall. Quick shout out to our sponsor, Cushy Dreams. They are my go-to for all things CBD related. They offer a full lineup of premium smokable CBD. They specialize in extraordinary CBD-rich hemp flower, also known as bud, in cans and pre-roll CBD joints. I really prefer the CBD joints. I like the 5-packs because it's a cute container. It slips into your pocket or your purse or your just in between, down your pants is fine. And I really like the Dream one right before I go to bed. I like the Hustle one like in the morning. I just have a couple pulls and within maybe 10 minutes, my whole mind and body feel relaxed. And to me, it's really worth it because I struggle with anxiety. I know it helps a lot of people sleep. You can enjoy all the health benefits of CBD without getting high. There's under 0.3% THC in all these products. It's cannabis that ships directly to you, and it's legal in all 50 states. Join the men and women who are sick of vapes and gummies and want to smoke their CBD. Looks and feels and definitely smells like high-quality marijuana, but it's not. It's 100% hand trimmed, never machine trimmed. Everything is super high quality. All of the lab tests and results can be found on their website, Cushy Dreams, KUSHY dreams.com. They come in different indica sativa blends like Energy, Peace, Hustle, Relax, Dream, Create. So whatever you want to do with your day, Cushy Dreams has you covered. Go to cushydreams.com and use promo code CMP to get 20% off every order, not just your first, but every order. And I think free shipping. So what are you guys waiting for? Go for it. All right. That was pretty good, I think. I'm so excited to have this guy on the podcast today. I think it's been years since I've seen him. Corona. It's been years, so we're going to catch up. I'm excited to see him again. He's a musician. He's a singer. He's got a fire YouTube channel. He is the creator of 10-second songs. I'm saying that right, I think. Anthony Valbiro! Whee!
Hey, what's going on?
How have you been?
You called me by my real name, which is nice for a change.
Oh, really? What do most people call you?
Well, Anthony Vincent is the name that I go by, but Vincent's my middle name. And I never used Valbiro because that's my father's name. You know? I always thought it's like, oh, it's my father's name. It's my name, but it's like we don't have like a senior or junior to differentiate us.
So I didn't like dox you or anything, I hope.
No.
Okay.
No. Well, I mean, not at all, because I released an album called Valbiro.
Okay.
I released people. I mean, there have been articles with my real name in there.
Okay.
But it's not the name that I put on display. I don't know why. I always felt like too professional. Like if I put it on display, it's too professional for me. I don't know.
See, Anthony Vincent to me sounds fancy. It sounds
like a little bit more of like a stage name, I guess, but I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, I wish I had thought of the idea of doing a stage name. I just never did. I think maybe if I had gone into stripping instead of comedy, the stage name would have occurred to me, but I just was like, yeah.
Right, yeah.
I was doing.
I don't know. Your name could work as a stripper name. I get,
Thank you. Maybe I would just change it to like Missy or like Misty. Misty Mayr sounds great. That actually sounds like I can feel like the moistness.
I love names that don't match things. Like I recently worked with a producer, and his girlfriend's dog was named Kevin. It's so funny
that is not a dog name.
It's such a regular name.
Yeah. But it would never go the other way. You'd never like name your daughter Muffin.
Right.
Maybe you would. Maybe Muffy.
Right. Well, yeah.
Wow.
Who knows? I don't put it past people because
Yeah.
Gigi Allen was his name was Jesus Christ Allen.
Really?
That was his name.
Wow.
Jesus Christ. And then
imagine you're like a pregnant mom. You're like, what do I name my kid? I have the best idea. I know it's been done, but hear me out. I think my kid's going to be even more impressive.
Right.
So wow, I don't think I've seen you, Anthony, probably since like 2015 or something.
Whenever was the last time you and Frank did your shows at the old studio?
Yeah. How we met is there's a studio called the Zedalza network. Well, it's a whole network, and it was really funny because I was just talking about this with Frank. A month into us dating, I agreed to like do this podcast with him, which now looking back is such a huge commitment. Like you're just dating somebody and you're like, let's do a podcast together. And I was like, sure. So I feel like that speaks volumes for our, and look, now we're all these years later.
And that was a good time. I missed the old studio,
and the old studio was like, it was in, well, I guess we can talk about it because it's the old studio, but it was in Portchester, right? So I would take the train from the city, like an hour and a half, and we'd do our show once a week. And that's where I met you and your brother, and you have this whole, I was really impressed with the studio, even the old one. Because it was the first, I think you guys were really pioneers at the time. You were the only ones with your own separate network. I feel like you really pioneered the kind of like independent broadcaster realm.
I talked to, you remember Gypsy?
Yes.
I was talking to Gypsy about this a couple of weeks ago. I mean, we're not really, everyone is doing their own thing now. I mean, we have a new studio and it's me. Frank has his own show, as you know. I think he's been on your show.
Quite frankly, right? It's his show.
Yeah. And and I do my thing, and you remember Mike, he's just one of our, like, he was one of the originals. So it's us three, but Gypsy went off and did his own thing, but I was talking to him, and it's interesting. Like I said, man, how crazy is it that the entire world is exploding with this kind of content that we did back in 2000. I mean, starting in 2008.
Wow. So that's when you started the original studio?
We went to a YouTube meetup in Washington Square Park, where it's in New York City.
Yeah.
Right? And there was one of the first ever YouTube meetups in the summer of 2000.
YouTube meetup. That is precious.
We went there, me, Frank, and Mike. We were just curious to see what was out, and we went with our uncle because he wanted to see some YouTube personalities at the time, which, by the way, I don't even know. I can't even imagine who was big at that time because YouTube was like still brand new. YouTube was like in its infantile stages.
Yeah. When did it start? 2006?
So this was 2007. We went there and we saw some dude walking around with a laptop in his backpack and a webcam on his head.
And that was probably insane to see at the time.
Like, what? Yeah. We went up to him. We're like, "Yo, what are you doing? You're streaming and stuff?" First of all, what he was doing, he was light years ahead of everyone else. I mean, because it's one thing to stream video; it's another thing to stream video in Washington Square, in just broad daylight in a place where what was the Wi-Fi like back then? I don't know.
Oh my god!
I have no idea how he was doing it. But we talked to him,
unless he had a hotspot, but I don't know.
Right? He was streaming live video on Justin TV, which would eventually become Twitch.
Whoa.
Right. And so we got his contact, and he told us everything he did and stuff like that. That's when we found Ustream, and we started doing live video streaming a couple of weeks later. And it was really, we were one of the first people. And then as far as like the network stuff, that was another thing. I mean, that's what it turned into, because we got a studio, and we wanted to provide a place for people to come to do that as well. And eventually,
So did you start as soon as you went to one YouTube meetup, and then you were like, we can do this, and the guy recommended you stream, or is that something you found on your own?
No, we found it on our own when we went, because we went to go. Obviously, the first thing we did was look up Justin TV, and we did go on Justin TV, but we liked Ustream better. Yeah, and what ended up being the one that had the staying power.
Wow.
Ustream, Brad Hustable of Ustream, he sold it for millions. I forget how many millions he sold.
What? Wow.
And Ustream TV is still there, but I think it's used for corporate. I don't know. It's very it's not. Clearly, we see which one evolved into.
No one's talking about Justin TV or Ustream.
Right. Well, they're talking about Justin TV. It's Twitch now.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's really insane. Right. How long? And then you guys made a studio. So when did the studio come together?
2009, the summer of 2009. I had the idea. Me and my friend Jay. I was like, you know what? I was like, I really want to get a studio for music production so I can record people. I was always looking for. That was when I was like, oh, I want to find a job. And I wanted to make my own way. I wanted to do something in music. So I figured, no, I'll try recording people, which, by the way, is not lucrative. But we did that, and then when I was told Frank about it, he goes, hey, why don't we just find a place to do to have it be like the studio, like broadcast and recording. And we did, and then that's when the stars started aligning, because he went to go visit a friend of his that did marketing in the same building of the old studio, and he's like, "Yo, is there any empty spaces here?" And that's when we got the space. So we did that, and really we opened it up to people to start coming in to do their shows as a really as a way to just keep everything afloat too.
Yeah,
because we were doing our show, but we were also it was an expense for us. We were paying rent every month. But but then it turned into a network, and it was good. It did well for a little bit. It was kind of cool. We had a lot of shows on. It was fun. I remember, and you were there. During that time that you were doing the show, there were about I don't know. We had up to 10 shows throughout the week.
Wow. What were some of the shows? Do you remember some of the earlier shows? And then do you remember?
We had some guy, his name was Larry Megan. He was one of the first ones. He worked for QVC. He would do those late night shows. On QVC, they have they show all the watches spinning and stuff. Every once in a while, we would go on there and say, is Larry on? Is Larry on? And sure enough, there he is, talking about stuff. So he wanted to do his own show where he would talk about old classic movies, and then also, I don't know,
it sounds almost like if he got too deep into QVC and then his brilliant idea for a show, and he's like, all right, hear me out. It's going to be me. I'm going to be selling all my old shit that I bought in QVC late at night. And I'll be like, look, it's a coffee mug. He would do I liked him. I liked him a lot. He was a really, really good, good energy to him. And he would do giveaway type stuff from that, but he would talk about old school Hollywood movies and also sports. He was very into sport. His show was a little all over the place, but a lot of people who came, their shows were all over the place. They were just regular people trying to put on a show. I mean, our show was all over the place. Our show was a disaster. Me, Frank, and Mike when we got together, and then it turned into what ended up happening was, we were at first we were trying to do this. I guess we weren't trying to be shock jock stuff. It was just we were very irreverent people, and we didn't have any filter at all. There was some stuff that, thank God, we took it down, because you could have been canceled over it.
Good. It really wasn't good. We didn't have any sense of what was acceptable, and it wouldn't be acceptable now.
So it probably was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Right. So we're going, and then eventually, I don't know, me and Mike were getting burnt out with it, and then Frank eventually started getting more political. So he realized that he's got to do he realized he had to do his own show, because I didn't really have it. He was getting more into that, and I didn't have much to contribute to it, because I mean, it's not that I don't care about all the stuff that's going on in the world. It's just that I don't actually actively research. So I don't.
Yeah.
If I don't research, I can't bring anything to the table.
And you have to be so into it so that you're constantly consuming news and media and being able to critique it he does. Yeah, he's just got he's insatiable for it, and you really have to have the same level of passion for it.
Because I'm not going to be one of these idiots that says that speaks on something that I don't know anything about, and then have some say, "Oh, do your research."
Yeah. People say that to me all the time, but I'm like, I don't have time. No.
Yeah.
Was that original show called Quite Frankly, or did it have a different name?
Quite Frankly was a name that he picked for for when he decided to go solo.
Okay.
And the original name was Zedalza, New York.
Cool.
Zedalza, New York was the name of the show. And then, because it stemmed from Zedalza and Zedalza. By the way, Zedalza it was an inside joke between me, Frank, and Mike. And it's a stupid, silly story. So, like, it's just a name. It's just a made-up name. There's no meaning behind it. And then we eventually turned it into the Zedalza Entertainment Network, which was just Zen, and then Zen Live TV and whatever.
Wow. Oh, that's so neat. And it all started from a joke.
Right.
At the time that you had started this first show with your brother, were you producing your own music as well?
Yeah. Well, you mean like the first show, like when it was me, Frank, and Mike? Is it I was in New York?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that was when I was getting my feet wet with production. I was developing things. Like I didn't even start singing until 2005.
Wow.
When me and Frank were in a metal band all throughout my years in high school.
Right. Set the Charge.
No, it was a metal. No. It was a metal band called Rotten Pain.
Oh,
it was hardcore
Rotten
metal.
Pain.
And I was the bassist. I wasn't even a singer. So after that band broke up, like, instead of joining other bands, we decided to just like experiment with stuff. And I mean, I was basically learning the ropes and singing in production, all the stuff. I was terrible back then, but I was developing, but like, and then we also started the radio thing just as a side thing to kind of to do something together. And throughout the whole time, I mean, that's when I started Set the Charge as a project. I started Set the Charge, but it was really it was me and Frank, but like it was just me, more so me finding out what our direction was going to be in production. And I started doing YouTube covers under the name Set the Charge, which never really picked up. We did get some decent viewership through the years. But I think we did an Eminem cover once that got 100,000 views, and I was like, "Well, we went viral!" Wow.
Yeah. I'm like, what does it even mean to go viral? Like, technically, how many views is viral? A million?
Virality is it's not so much. It's not I don't think personally, if you were to ask me, I don't think it's the amount of views. I think it's the amount. I think it's the amount of how much where you spread in all different corners of the internet.
Okay.
That to me is what virality is, what true virality. Because look, you can put up a video on YouTube that gets a million views in a couple of days. That doesn't mean it went viral. That means that right now, it means basically you've hit a stride in the algorithm, or you were like suggested. I put out a video last month, or a couple, it might have been, I think it's a couple of months now. It's in March when I announced the name change of my channel, and I just put, it was clickbaity because it says goodbye and whatever, and the thing went trending on YouTube, and I got 1.5 million views. But did that video go viral? No, I wouldn't consider that a viral video. It's just a video that got favored in the algorithm. A viral video is like what happened with when I put out Dark Horse. Dark Horse went viral.
And that was your cover of Katy Perry's Dark Horse
back in 2014. That went viral because it was all over the place. Like, it exploded. It got, I mean, the viewership back then, I think it got 4 million views in a week.
Jesus.
Which is a lot considering my channel was brand new. Like, that was the first video I put on my channel. That video right there was the first video I put on my channel.
And it went super viral.
It did. But even that, like 23,000 views, believe it or not, is not the most.
23 million. Yes.
23 million is not the most. Like, that's actually low compared to what some viral videos are on YouTube.
I'm going to play a little bit of this for people who have had their heads in the sand and have never heard your stuff. God. What is it? Is it hard for you to listen to your stuff?
Yeah, it is. It's difficult.
Me too.
But whatever. Do what you got to do.
Ugh, it's so impressive to me. Was this the first style of a video like this that you'd done?
Yeah.
It's so good. It gives me chills. Watch, I get a copyright strike for playing your thing.
No, you won't. You get copyright strikes? Like when you upload stuff?
What did you say?
Do you get copyright? Where do you upload?
Sometimes I do. Well, if I just play it, like I'll be talking about somebody or something. Like the other day, I was doing a live stream. I was talking about Friends, like they had this Friends reunion, and I played a little bit of the trailer, and I got a copyright strike for that, which just means like you can't monetize the video. So later on, I had to just clip that part out because.
Well, you shouldn't get any kind of problems with this, and if you do,
yeah,
probably I could.
It's okay. It's all good. How were you? So what was your process like for this? Like, how many total artists, or was it completely random?
I didn't even think about it too much. I came up with the idea of making a 10-second songs channel because I had a 10-second songs Fiverr page.
Oh, Fiverr, right.
That was my gateway. Fiverr was my gateway into being a full-time musician. Independent musician as my main source of income, because I was working retail jobs like Bed Bath and Beyond and Home Depot and stuff, and then I was also doing Fiverr on the side, and it was overwhelming me to do both. Like it was actually exhausting, and I finally decided to just take the leap and say, you know what, I'm going to do Fiverr full time. And
wow.
I did. And it worked. It worked out because it really, a lot of different opportunities opened up and opportunities to make to do jobs, music jobs outside of the platform on Fiverr. So once I started seeing that I was actually making good money, I was like, you know what, I'm going to take this a step further and make a YouTube channel promoting my custom songs so that I can get out to a wider audience. And I was like, what's the best way to do it? Well, I'm going to take a pop song, and I'm going to divide it into, 20 genres. And, when I realized that 20 genres, like there's only so many genres you can do, I was like, I'll just do style. I'll do actual artists, and I'll do them the best I can. I wasn't like meticulously trying to sound like each of these people, because I'm listening back. I'm like, that is the worst Nirvana impression on the planet. That's the worst Queen impression on the planet. Like I'm looking at it, and I'm like, okay, I understand now why this did well, because I was a nobody. Like you can clearly see that I was just like, I was out of the blue. Here's this guy who executed a pretty interesting idea no one ever did before, good enough. I'm not putting myself down, but I did a good enough job to have it be entertaining and relatable so people can share it,
Yeah.
But really that was it. It wasn't, there were some things I did in that video, which was my most viral video, that I would never do now. Like I remember in the Queen section, those like, I left in rough harmonies, demoed harmonies that are flat. They're not even on pitch. I'm listening back, like, like, holy shit, that's a little flat. And I just left them in because like, I was like, fuck it. These are things I would have never done. Like then once I started doing them more, because obviously then it became a thing for me to be that styles guy. And I realized that, I got 100,000 subscribers in that first week.
What? Oh my God.
The channel was 0 subscribers because that was the first video I put up. So 100,000. So I'm like, I felt pressure to have to follow that up because, like I didn't want to just go up and put up a Metallica cover of me singing Enter Sandman. I don't know, like something regular like that. People just I had to do something in that vein again. So I kept doing them because like, they were working and then eventually I did eventually like I landed this kind of like cross promotion marketing collaboration with Linkin Park.
Oh really? I didn't know about that.
Same multi-channel network as me. By the way, YouTubers, they sign, once you get like bigger on YouTube, multi-channel networks will contact you, and I don't know if you know what they are, but like,
No, I'm not there yet.
Broadband TV or Studio 71 or whatever. Though they're like record labels for YouTube channels almost.
Wow.
And so Linkin Park was on the same voltage. I'm really pulling the curtain back behind right now.
I like it.
Linkin Park was on the same multi-channel network as me, so we kind of did this thing where I did In the End, and they would share it on their networks. Now, mind you, Linkin Park's social media networks is still some of the biggest in traditional artists there is. Like they had like 64 at the time, 65 million likes on Facebook when Facebook likes actually were worth something.
Yeah, before they were manipulated.
Because like I'll tell you, back in 2014, you could post straight up YouTube links on Facebook and they flew. That was because that was before, crazy to think about this, but that was about a year or a half a year before Facebook rolled out Facebook video. So think about that. Like, they were actually, so when Linkin Park posted my YouTube link and Chester's at the end of that video, telling people to subscribe to my channel.
This one right here?
My channel got 85,000 subscribers in a day.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That's so exciting.
Single-handedly put me very close to 1 million subscribers after that video.
And you had done 2 videos.
No, at the time it was Katy Perry. I did a Jason Derulo song. I did an Ariana Grande song. Grande. I always say Grande. I don't know why. And then I did Linkin Park. So it was the fourth video in, because the trend started to go down a little bit. Like the next 2 after Dark Horse, they didn't do as well. So that was the pick me up right there.
The Linkin Park.
It's crazy. It's crazy to think about.
Wait a second. Am I doing this right? Wait. Everyone's watching me figure out the player.
Are you live right now?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, we're pre-recording. Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay, so this was the video number 4.
Crazy.
This, I remember when this came out, I was also very impressed and excited for you.
It starts with one thing. I don't know why.
How long does it take you to do one of these videos?
It's been so long, I don't remember. 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
That was usually that was the average, 2 weeks. But it depends on what. It depends on what kind of song it is and how many transitions there are. Because I did Rap God in 40 styles. That took over a month.
Was that your hardest video?
That might have been the most difficult one to record and film. But I'm trying to think. That probably was. That was a real. That was a lot mentally too. But it took about because this was, I mean, these were the earlier videos, so I was producing them all myself. The later videos, like the more recent ones, I've been getting. I have producers that help me, which have made them more streamlined. But at the same time, for me, I felt towards the end started taking away the fun entirely.
Really? Having more help actually made it less fun.
It took away. It started to get very mundane for me. So that's why I stopped them. I haven't done one since November.
Wow. Isn't that funny though? Like you think, it's going to be easier on you to have more help, which frees you up to be more creative.
It definitely was. It is easier, but the problem is that it made me lazy. That's my fault.
How so?
Because I basically, would have I would have a conversation with my producer. I would make the list of what transitions I wanted, and I'd say, okay, let's do this. I talk to him. We'd have like a meeting about it. It's like, all right, do it. And then he'd present it to me. And it's either it's either it would work or I would make suggestions and changing it. I was kind of guiding the whole process, but I wasn't in there doing it. See, the whole thing, and I realized that you know, in doing them, I was like kind of like putting myself through a production boot camp. Like if I didn't know how to do something, I never shied away from it. I would do it until I figured out how to do it. And
wow.
Like even programming drums for like a Tool section, which is like progressive rock or alternative metal. I'd listen to, you know, I would just do it like, you know, and I would do it on my own. I'd figure it out, and actually it would actually be pretty good, you know, like and I'd be impressed with what I could pull off, like even with myself, or at least not impressed, but more so like it's a good feeling to know that, oh, something that you didn't think that you could do because you would have never tried anyway. Once you actually did it and tried it, like you actually did it. Like it was a good thing to see that, you know, oh, I can do this, and now I know I can do this. Now I know I can do that. All of that was kind of eliminated once I started getting help.
Yeah,
it started becoming more like a job. And I actually, in the last year that I did, the last time I did the Styles videos was last year. I started to see a decline in interest and viewership anyway. Like not so much, not a terrible decline, because these videos would average 1 million views on average each, but then it started to drop to like, oh, like 500,000, stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, well, it's time for me to shake things up and try other things. And of course, like that's where I'm at right now. Like I'm in a I'm trying other things, but I'm also like, by the way, I'm not done with Styles videos.
yeah.
But my whole thing is that when I do another one, it's got to be like as special as they were before, and like crazy. Like, you know, when I said Rap God and 40 Styles,
That is crazy to me. Like
it's got to be that. If it's not that, it can't be like, because then I started doing stuff like Creep in 15 Styles, or I did Linkin Park Numb in 15 Styles, and it's just like, you know, it's like 15 Styles. It just seems very like, all right, fine, here's a Styles video. Like,
I think you're hard. You're like every creative person. You're like hard on yourself, you know, because you're like, like there's so many people who'd be like, oh my God, 500,000 views on a video would make their life. But yeah, you're probably, there's always a voice inside you that's like pushing you to do
I
your
get
limit.
I get that. It's just that it was more so me seeing that, okay, as someone who creates stuff anywhere, like even if you're an artist or you're a musician, whatever you do that's creative, if you start noticing something is maybe burning out, like I'm good at keeping my finger on the pulse to where it's like, okay, this is starting to tap out a little bit.
Yeah, you're really in tune.
Let me ease off.
Okay.
I just want to ease off a little.
This is, I don't know how you were able to do this because of how fast you have to sing.
Well, towards the middle is the
hard part.
That's the word. Yeah, that's the hard part.
Right here.
No, but like I would say.
Oh my God.
I haven't watched this in so long.
This is hard.
Yeah, I did like there was like 3 different languages. I don't know if I did them right. I had translators, but
yeah, that's how do you go that fast? That's amazing.
Well, luckily that's just a natural thing I'm able to do.
Did you hear that, ladies?
Right. No, luckily that's just something that people ask, oh, did you
speed it up?
And I practiced like learning the songs. Obviously, you gotta, for a song like that, you need to learn it to where it's muscle memory, or else like a lot of like rapping a song like that, once you memorize it, you're not even aware of what you're saying at that point. You're moving so fast that it's just muscle memory.
It has to be like riding a bike. Yeah. And
Right.
I've seen imitations. Like since I've seen at least one or two channels of people that are trying to do the same style, like, the same exact thing that you're doing.
Mhm.
Like styles of, this musical song or like this song in different, but they'll do it with impressions. Like I've seen people try to do what you do. Have you been seeing that a lot?
Well, yeah, it's a lot. Like, it goes in so many forms because there's like the impressions thing where people change the voices. I mean, that's a little bit less than when people do songs in the style of other artists. Like I know, like there's a lot of, like, there are quite a few people now who do and I even see it on TikTok too, of like, doing this song in the style of Korn. Everybody knows that that's my thing. I mean,
Yeah.
the people that know what I do,
first. Yeah.
know that I'm the one who generally does that, and no one did that really before me. And if they did, then they didn't get any real recognition for it.
Yeah.
So that is more than anything else, because the truth is, like, to do it in the way that I do it, I don't know. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen anyone with the same variety. Because a lot of the times people, they stick to their strengths. They don't want to go and show they don't want to get out of their comfort zone too much. So if you have, in other words, if it's a rock vocalist, he's not going to go and do Big Pun. He's not going to go and do Bone Thugs and Harmony or Sam Cooke. He's not going to do Sam Cooke. I'm going to do that because, like, I love all that kind of music. Like, I actually really do love all different types of music. This is not just, and I hope that people know that about me. That was never a gimmick to a point where it's like, oh, I'm just going to do all these styles because it'd be ironic to do them. The funny thing is that everything in Dark Horse, that was the easiest list I ever made because it was the first one I ever did. And that was all from just my list of pleasures and guilty pleasures.
Yeah. And I don't think it comes across gimmicky at all because you don't get to this level. And even though you're hard on yourself and like, oh, I was off pitch or whatever, like out of harmony, like I don't think you get to that. You can get to that level of mastery without loving each style.
Right.
Like it shows that you have passion for each one.
I mean, I'm not like obviously I admit that I am the best at the rock stuff. But that's where I'm cut out. That's like my core. But
which ones were the hardest for you to do, or you felt like, oh, this one shows my weakness, or like this one's a stretch?
I would say the clean, belty, like R&B stuff. If I ever tried to do a female diva type thing, that's not generally easy for me to do. You got to have a real clean tone all throughout your entire vocal range. Your chest voice, your passaggio mid belting range, and your head voice. Like, it's all got to sound like one powerful, clean, crisp thing. And the runs, I'm good at some runs, but like that's and to tell you the truth, as far as rock, I mean, the one thing that you'll never, unless you were Mark Martel, who voiced Freddie Mercury in the Queen movie.
Oh.
You're not going to really, as a singer, if you try to do an impersonation, try to pass off as Freddie Mercury, you are not going to stop getting the criticism for it because
it's that hard.
He's just, like, I can sing the hell out of Queen songs, and I think I do a pretty good job. But do I sound exactly like Freddie? Can I sound exactly like Freddie? Absolutely not. Mark Martel can.
Wow.
If you ever want to be amazed how someone could sound really close to Freddie, actually, this might be blasphemous. Some people might say. I think he sounds like Freddie with better technique.
Ooh.
No offense to Freddie.
No.
Obviously what made Freddie great was that he was one of the best vocalists of all time, one of the best performers, but his technique wasn't perfect. And to prove it, he had nodes towards the end of his career.
Nodes. I first heard about nodes in Pitch Perfect, and I was like, "Are these even real?" And she was like, "I have nodes." It's a good movie.
Yeah, that's a real thing. I've never had to experience that, but I've experienced other problems like acid reflux. That's put me out.
And that's just from singing?
No, acid reflux. I mean, some singers have a thing called silent reflux. It's destroyed people's careers. Where
Whoa.
basically, if you have acid reflux problems, people have acid reflux problems,
right?
But if you're a
just
singer,
from
it's
life,
even worse, because daily pleasures that we all have, like a night of drinking. I can't do that anymore. Like because if I'm having anything acidic past a certain time, like past 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and I go to sleep, that what happens is the acid comes up the esophagus on the cords, and what it'll do is it could damage the cords, or it could make them irritated to where they try to heal themselves, and that's when you have the postnasal drip, and they get thick.
Oh man,
Your cords need to be very elastic. There needs to be good elasticity and brightness to them, and flexibility to them. And that's what happens is with someone who's got acid reflux that goes untreated. It could take the elasticity right out and make them stiff, make it very difficult. Like make your cords like not able to do what they need to do. And I've had that problem for a while. I'm just recently tackling that.
What do you think was Freddie Mercury's problem?
Probably I don't know. He apparently he never had, the whole thing with him is that he never had any lessons apparently, or like
wow.
he was completely self-taught. I think he had piano lessons as a kid, but even that, he never considered himself a piano player. Even though he got really good. I mean, well, way better than I am. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't confident in his piano playing, but he was very good. But as far as the singing goes, who knows? Maybe it was. I mean, I remember hearing a story that there was some show. I think it was Saturday night when they were on Saturday Night Live, and they did a performance of Under Pressure. Just before they went on, Freddie had a screaming match with one of his lovers. He was screaming, and he was trying to get his voice back. Think stuff like that. Like, I mean, obviously, if you're going to like shouting, screaming, like a real argument, that's not going to help you.
You got to have a chill fight. Yeah.
People get nodes from what happens is why they form is an overusage of air on the cords. So like that's how people's voice get hoarse, is when you have too much air that's being forced through the cords or on the cords. Your cords get dried out, and that's why with singing, the best you got to use as little air as possible. There's exercises for that, like to train your mind to just using as little air as possible, holding your breath while you sing, stuff like that. Like it goes deep, but probably, who knows? I don't know. I don't know what his day-to-day life was like, but that was the first thing that came to mind, was that one little story.
Wow, that's really cool.
Was great about him, and not to go on a Freddie thing, but what was great about him was that he was a master he was a master performer. So if he had a bad vocal night, you didn't really know. I mean, you could figure it out if you're a performer too. You can see what he's trying to do. He would play it safe and graceful ways. He wouldn't go for like certain notes that he knew he wasn't capable of doing that night. He would take it down to a lower place, but he had such charisma and the way that he did it and performed that no one cared.
Yeah, everybody loved him. Yeah, he's just like, it was fun to watch. Would you say that he was an influence of yours, or you said you really liked Korn, or you liked doing that style? Like, were they influences for you?
Well, Korn is one of those styles that is they're just so easy to do, and I like their sound. But believe it or not, when they were really, really like new and relevant back when I was like in 7th and
What was
8th
it,
grade.
98 or something? I remember briefly liking Korn. Probably to impress a boy.
I was like, well, I was like in 7th or 8th grade, and it was around 2000, 99, 2000, and I liked them. No, I actually didn't like them back then. I was very into like Metallica, like old school metal.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't really like them at the time that they were. But then, you know, years pass, and like you look back, it's like, oh, this was cool. I was just being a little shit back then. I was a closed-minded little shit. That's why I didn't like them.
Yeah.
I like. Well, of course, everyone romanticizes things that aren't here anymore. So right now, they're all in the metal community, or a part of the metal community. A lot of people are romanticizing new metal right now.
What bands are in new metal?
Korn.
Okay.
You know, like Linkin Park. But then if you really want real new metals, like Coal Chamber, and you know, people like Deftones falls under that category. Although I always felt that they had a lot more musicality to them. They shouldn't be just lumped into one category of new metal. But like bands of that time, so like, you know, yeah, Disturbed, I guess Papa Roach would be in there, but they're more poppier. Limp Bizkit, that's real. Like, yeah, I don't know. I never was into Limp Bizkit.
So you kind of seem like a jack of all trades, not like one band has really influenced. Or I mean, maybe when it comes to Set the Charge, do you have certain influences?
I feel like Set the Charge. We've tried to focus our sound, and I would say, well, we are releasing a new album. Well, like at least we're releasing 4 tracks that are done now, and I don't know exactly when they're going to be put out, but they're done. And I think I always feel like the sound always ends up becoming kind of like, there's a definite Muse influence always. I don't know why. Muse isn't always there. They're one of my favorite bands, but like I don't listen to them all the time. I do love Muse, but it just so happens that in Set the Charge we have that Muse thing. Sometimes there's Queen in there, sometimes, and now lately there's been like Soundgarden, you know, Audio Slave, like Tool, and what would be another? Deftones. I feel like there's some Deftones influence in there. 9 Inch Nails. You know, if you take all of that and roll it into one, I think people would agree if they listen to it. It gives them that feeling. I mean, it doesn't sound like it, but I think that's where all the influences are, personally.
Cool. Do you guys have live shows coming up, or you're still recording?
No, we did a live stream last week. Last Wednesday we did a live stream on our YouTube. That was pretty cool. That was fun. But as far as like live shows, I don't even know. Like I don't know what the story is with all of that yet. I haven't really been paying attention to what venues are opening up.
It's taking New York a long time. Like, I think I don't know. I feel like it's New York, New Jersey, Connecticut are going to be like among the last states to get fully going again. Right.
Yeah. So really, with that being said, there are no immediate plans of us playing live. But we're just gonna put out this, release this album, and as soon as we come up with the date, I don't know.
Yeah, we're all kind of in the same boat, like even though, I don't know, most of my shows now are all on the road, like pretty much. I got to get out of New York to like do some decent time. So it's hard right now.
Great, though. That's what? Really cool. That's great.
Oh, it's been really fun. It's been cool to see more of the country for sure. And like connect with the people, and you can just tell when you meet people, like, everyone's like, we need to get the hell out of our house, and we're so happy to see like live entertainment again. So yeah, I definitely miss it. I'm definitely I'm worried, but not worried. I think I used to be more worried that they're going to require more of these like wacky ass passports for these larger venues. But it seems like just now it's like maybe just like I think it's maybe a couple of the baseball stadiums and maybe also Madison Square Garden. But I'm like, I'm okay not going to those places. So
I went to LA a couple of weeks ago, and I was expecting some kind of like have to show a test results and all this stuff. And all they said was that they were going to take my temperature and I need to wear a mask on the plane. And even that, they didn't take my temperature. And I ended up getting, so I went there and my, I had like, rug burns on my knuckles from like this thing I was doing, this training exercise I did, right? With my trainer. So I had these rug burns. I was like, oh, they're a little raw, but I didn't think anything of it. They actually ended up getting infected. Okay.
Oh
I had
no.
to take antibiotics and stuff. The reason I'm saying this is that I went through an airport where it's supposed to be like a hotbed for all different types of sickness, and I didn't even get a sniffle. Like I had exposed wounds. Maybe that was irresponsible of me. I don't know.
You're fine. Like flying is a snap. Yeah, it's flying is no sweat.
So I don't know. Like I was the point is I was expecting stricter shit, and it didn't. So I don't know. I'm not sure what to really expect in the future.
Yeah, it is letting up.
I'm cautious and stuff, but I'm not crazy I'm not going nuts. Yeah. By the way, I had COVID.
You had it when?
I had it in January.
Whoa.
So
how was it?
It was miserable, but like it wasn't like for me it was, I would say, the standard for someone that had it pretty good. Like,
okay.
not like severe, like where I had to go to the hospital, but like I had it pretty good. Like it lasted for the lingering cough lasted for a couple of months.
Oh wow.
And I was it was about 9, maybe like 8 days of a low grade, on and off low grade fever.
Has it had any lingering effects like on your voice or?
At first I thought it did, but my voice has been bouncing back. I was concerned that that's what was going on with my voice because I had like a certain stiffness to it. But then I realized when I went to the ENT and she said that it was acid reflux. So I started taking acid reflux medication, and my voice has been bouncing back. I've regained flexibility in my voice that I haven't had in a few years.
Ooh, okay, good. So you're getting on top of it.
Right. So the point is like, I don't know, like, I've seen experts, I don't want to talk about this stuff too much, but I've seen experts talk about like the vaccines and stuff. And they can't even answer the question if someone like me, for instance, who had it, should take the vaccine. They don't even have a straight answer. So until people get their straight answers, I'm going to wait it out a little bit, because the last thing I want is to have any, well, you know what? I feel like I'm sick enough this year. Like I got that, I dealt with that. And then about a month later, I got a cold.
Oh, yeah, you're good for a while.
God, I don't even want to feel anything anymore, like right now. I don't want to, because I know that's what people deal with when they take these vaccines. Like they have that couple of nights of shit.
Yeah, immune response, whatever. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. I think you're probably good, but I'm not a doctor. What do you I'm like, listen to me.
Who knows? But I don't know.
What do you feel like when it comes to your videos? Like, it seems like, is there a difference between what does really well and the kind of stuff that you really like to produce? Or do you?
Big difference. If it's something that I really want to produce, it'll get 30,000 views like the past 3 videos I put out. The viewership has, I mean, to be fair, everybody is experiencing a drop in views right now. Even big creators, they're seeing less viewership but less viewership to the bigger creators is like, oh, they're seeing 500,000 views in a week instead of 1.5 million.
Why is that?
I don't know what the hell's going. YouTube is a. I'm done with like trying to wrap my mind around how it works. Algorithms change almost every day, so it's very tough to keep up with, and you got to have a team of experts to help you to know what the hell you're doing, because it doesn't work. It's not going to work the same way it worked 5 years ago. I'm on that, so I've tried doing different things, and maybe this is good because like I've done things I've always wanted to do, thinking in my mind that they could be successful, and I'm seeing what works and what doesn't. And I know, okay, well, I tried that. I've tried that a couple of times, and it actually got around the same result. So I know that's not really worth it anymore. So, and it's fine. Sometimes you have to do that. You got to see what works and what doesn't. And that's what's been interesting over the past couple of months of me venturing off and trying other things aside from styles videos, is to see what works. Because like my audience has been used to me doing styles videos for a while, and a lot of them like what I do. There are a couple of really weird people who will leave comments saying yeah, so I see this is what you're doing now. Well, I can't support this. Yeah, like I can't support this. Sorry, this is not the kind of content I subscribe for. It's time for me to unsubscribe. Best of luck. It's like,
how dramatic, unnecessarily. Yeah.
Just don't wish me luck.
I think people just like to say that for attention. Like I get comments like that. Like, well, if this is the direction you're going, I'm like, it's just this one person.
Right. It's like, people watch. First of all, anyone on the internet who does anything, they very rarely do the same thing over and over and over again. Like if you watch anybody, like, it could be anyone, like they're diversifying their content all the time. That, one day they're talking about this, or one day they do different shit. It's like, and I don't know, like maybe because I've done the same thing for a while and now I'm starting to do different shit. People are like, oh, now you're doing this? No, I mean, I did this once. I'm not going to be doing it again. I don't know. So there is a difference. There's a big difference because what YouTube will tell you in the metrics too is that, oh, this video is not performing as usual because it's got lower interest from your subscribers. Fewer people are clicking on this. They're not interested in it. So what they do is they'll, from what I understand, YouTube will send out your video to a small percentage of your subscribers. Okay.
Wow.
And like a real percentage to see how they like it. And if they like it, they're going to send it to more percentage of your subscribers. And if they like it, it's going to have it more. And then if it's really favored and people really like this video, it might just show up in the recommended section so you can get new subscribers. That's how it works. But if I put out a video that gets that like a small amount of people click on it, or doesn't get engagement, it doesn't get served out to anybody. That's why like the past 3 videos I've done, it hasn't really had a lot of views, because first of all, it's not that clickbaity. I mean, me doing a cover of Unchained Melody, that doesn't appeal to my audience of people who just want to see songs sung in different styles, or even just metal songs, songs like done in a metal style. I have a lot of metal heads. I got a lot of rock people and metal heads, which is kind of a little frustrating sometimes, because I love metal, I love rock, but I love so many other things, Yeah.
But
it is what it is.
But it sounds like it's good that you're not letting your fans dictate what you create, and you're on top of it. You notice it, but you're not controlled by it.
Right. Yeah, I'm not, but there definitely has. I realize that after a while, it is good. Like some people can be in the position to do it. People who have millions of dollars in the bank, they could be in a good position to say, you know what, I'm going to go do what I want now. you know. But for me, you know, it does, after a while, I do have to be smart about it too, because, like, you know, my channel's got to keep bringing in the income.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
can't just always do what I want.
Of course. I know. That's why when I hear people like Seth Rogen be like, "Oh, comedians should be okay with cancel culture," and I'm like, "Yeah, because you don't have to work anymore, buddy. Like, you have all the money you need for the rest of your life. Like, it's so easy for you to be like, words have consequences." It's like, what a pussy. I don't know. I just am like, you can't call yourself a comedian and not be for free speech. Ultimately, it makes me mad.
Right.
But these celebrities, like, they get so out of touch. They're not down with the people.
I can't. I can't stand with like when people like that like go and preach about things that they clearly don't have to deal with.
It's like, you should preach to other celebrities. Like, I don't know. When you get at a certain level, it's like they're just not aware of their kind of everyday irrelevance to the. I think what started that is like when people started to hear a lot of like when they get their awards, you know, the award speeches that would end up getting political, and people would be like, "Oh, we're not watching this for your political takes." I think that slowly started the bursting of the Hollywood bubble, and now I think so many people are just so turned off by most celebrities.
Right.
It's just like, yeah, we have our own problems. Like, we don't care that you're.
well, what about when everything was last year at the peak of everything, when, you know, it was really like the whole stay home thing, you know, and you had all these talk shows being done on Zoom, and it's like people are like, you know, shit. Like, and first of all, they're so bad at it, you know, like it looks so bad because they're like, oh, it's, you know, we're just doing this, we're doing, like, you know, like, we're just you know, this is not like the regular show, we're just kind of doing on the internet. But the problem is that all these these content creators that have been on the internet for the past few years are doing it better than you.
Yes. Yeah. That's why when you would see like Ellen or Trevor Noah, you're like, oh, like, you guys can't afford better cameras. Yeah.
I was watching the Ellen interviews and stuff. It's like, wow, these are boring people.
Yeah.
They're not entertaining people. They're not.
Without the laugh track and the audience and the handlers, it's like,
and I think that also contributed to why so many people are turned off by it, because they follow whoever they want. There's so many different personalities out there and hosts of shows and podcasts, and there's millions. By the way, in the past year, I think there's like there was like, now there are over 20,000 YouTube channels that have over 1 million subscribers.
What? Oh my God.
Something like that.
That's a lot.
Really let that sit in. Over 20,000. There might be more.
Damn. That's a lot.
Over 1 million. Like, they each have their own, and that's like from 1 million and up. They have their own audience of 1 million plus subscribers, over 20,000. So it's endless. So the idea by the way, no one should ever think about, you know, competing like they're in competition with anyone. Fuck relevance. Forget about all that shit. That's not, it's just not a thing anymore. It's not a thing.
You have to do what you like.
Like, you know, all you have to do is build your own audience and engage them, and you're winning. That's it.
Yeah.
Forget about it. Everything. Who cares what other people are doing? Build your own audience and engage them the best you can. Be yourself. Put completely, you know, who you are out there, so that you attract the audience you want. That's the other thing too, because that's important. You need to be playing to the audience you want to be playing to.
How many of these are tips you learned from your 2008 YouTube meetup?
None.
Do you remember anything?
Oh, what? You mean like the Washington?
Yeah. Do you remember anything from the meetup?
No, there was not. There was a bunch of people out there. Oh man, that was like, had I known the stuff I know now back then, I would have done song covers. That was before there was even any popular music YouTubers.
Wow.
You know, YouTubing was, at that time, YouTubing was just like it was so like Numa Kid. Remember him?
No. Oh my God.
Like the Numa dance, like the chubby dude that was like, oh, what about Charlie bit my finger?
Yes, of course. All right.
That's the kind of stuff that was on YouTube
Yeah.
at the time. Very, very like just short,
Lowbrow. Yeah.
glimpses into people's lives. YouTube, not Jimmy Fallon tube.
Do you remember? Right, exactly. That celebrities have their own tube. It's called the regular ass TV.
Right, YouTube. That's what it was, and it's gone. It's gone now. It's not YouTube anymore.
It's they tube.
They've been doing this. I think that what people say that the golden age of YouTube ended around 2014, which is funny because I got to see a little bit of that. And they say that once it started, there was that whole adpocalypse thing. Remember that?
No.
Back in 2017, advertisers started pulling their ads from videos because it wasn't aligning with their political beliefs. By the way, the entire world was turned on its head during the last presidency.
Yeah.
Because of the American presidency. It influenced so many things, and I don't know. Like I am not like there's no like I didn't learn this. I'm not repeating this from anything I've heard. It's just an observation I made because people got it. Just it affected everything for better or for worse. It affected everything because you had the adpocalypse. The advertisers were like, oh, this our advertisements are put on right-leaning stuff, and we don't want that. So they were pulling all this shit, like pulling all their stuff off, and then it also that changed the way sponsors were putting money into videos. That made it more difficult, more of a hustle for people like me to get to figure out how to, because everyone was competing for advertising dollars now. Then you had the Vine invasion. When
Vine.
Then you had that in the same year when Vine was taken down. You had all these Viners merging onto the platform on YouTube, and that was a big oversaturation. That's when you had Jake Paul, Logan Paul. That was a big oversaturation. Then no, so you had that, and man, you think about all the reasons why it changed. The pandemic, you had all these people who are scurrying around because these, especially, I could speak in the music world, these traditional artists who were making their money touring and doing traditional things. A lot of them talk shit about us. A lot of them didn't like us. A lot of them did not look down at anyone who was doing YouTube stuff. I'm not going to name names, but there were a lot of them that just like, oh, this is below me, and what do you know? Here they are. Here's an influx of people now who are all trying to take our jobs. Not trying to take our jobs, because there's plenty of success to go around, right?
Right. But it is interesting. So when you say golden age of YouTube, you mean like they're not fiddling with the algorithms, they're not fiddling with the ads, like pure
the
views count.
The way it used to work back then was that if you got a certain amount of viewership in a day, say you got like, I don't know, if you got like 250,000 views in a day, you were going on trending. That was it. You were going on trending. But they got very manual, very I don't know who's controlling what on YouTube, but there's definitely politics involved. And by politics, I mean just people who look favoritism. If you're not in the club, you're not getting preferential treatment.
Yeah.
If you're not in the cool kids club, you're not at the cool kids table.
I'm definitely used to that from comedy.
It's the same thing everywhere. The most pretentious, worst cool kids table there is on the internet is Twitter. The worst. And I don't know why, because that is the shittiest platform, the most limiting platform out of all of them.
I have such a love-hate relationship with Twitter, but I totally feel you. Yeah. I know when it's time to get off Twitter, when I start feeling like angsty and like angry, like I have to like fight back with strangers, and I'm like, oh no, go outside, Chrissy. Yeah, it's interesting though, because I remember like I graduated college in 2005, and I had a buddy, Mike Falzone, who got into YouTube right when it started, and same thing, he was part of that golden age, like blew up, so many followers, also did comedy, kind of like a different style. And I thought, like, I don't know, I didn't understand YouTube. I think I also thought it was kind of dumb, and I didn't see myself on it. I just didn't see my place in it at all. So, but I remember like observing early YouTube, being like, huh, like here I am finally going like balls deep into YouTube, really just like in the last 2 years.
Hey,
here we are.
Right. It's not too late. I mean, I got people, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm not afraid to pull the curtain back on it, but I think it's in some ways, everyone's got equal opportunity on YouTube now. You can get as many views as a channel that has 3.5 million subscribers. I know it because I've got friends of mine who have less than 300,000 views and sometimes get more views than I do.
Wow.
So what does that tell you?
Yeah, so, there's still a chance.
Right. So it's about it never gets like, if you're on this, like if you think like you're going to go on YouTube and get a certain amount of subscribers, and you think that, okay, well, I paid my dues, now I can just put out what I want and it's going to do well. You're wrong. You are never, it's never going to, you're never going to, the need to have to make an impression enough to put out a catchy video and a successful video will never go away with the way YouTube is designed. You need to be as much of a title and thumbnail artist. In some ways,
yeah,
you need to be a better title and thumbnail artist than you are actually an artist at your craft. There are people who are so good at titles and thumbnails and aren't even that good that do well on YouTube.
Right, because you just need somebody to click, and then they're like, oh, this isn't about what I thought, and then they're gone.
In and of itself. It's an art in and of itself. It's a complete art. And I hate it.
I know, it sucks.
Because I'm not a YouTuber like that. I'm not.
Yeah.
I can out-sing so many people, and I don't mean this like in a like I'm not trying to be arrogant or anything. It's just it's the truth.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I once had a friend of mine who said, you know, he was giving me advice about the channel, and this is a successful YouTuber, by the way. And he said, well, let me ask you something. He goes, the thing is, you should be putting out stuff. It doesn't always have to be about your talent. You know, people like to connect personalities. Because imagine what would happen if, at the time, Logan Paul and Jake Paul were the biggest. If Logan Paul put out a pop album, you know, how well do you think it would do? At the time, probably way better than anyone who's trying to put out a pop album. You know, but I get that. I got that mentality, but I hated the mentality. Because the problem with that is that's like the equivalent of some jock in high school who's got no talent, right? Entering into the talent contest to sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" and he wins the show.
Which is life, man. Like that happens,
right? And that's that. Yeah. I just don't like it. I don't. Yeah. I feel like that's that. You know. But then again, this is the other side to it as well. Sometimes to get to a certain point, you do have to play the game a little bit and put what you think is artistic integrity aside. Sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes you do. You really you do. Otherwise, you're just going to be that hipster starving artist type for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And it's like, it's not quite selling out. It's just being smart and being like, okay, what form do I have to put my talent in so that it can reach the most people?
It's buying in.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I see so many similarities in comedy. Like I get upset. I'll see like a celebrity or actor get into comedy, and I'm like, oh, of course they're gonna do. They have a built-in audience already. Like that's such a big part of the comedy game. Is like building your audience so you can fill a room, and like boom, like Jeremy Piven already has a huge audience. You know what I mean? And then he just figured out comedy later. And you're like, good for you. So happy for him. Anthony, it was so great to have you on. Good to chat with you. Where can people find you and follow you and support your work?
YouTube, Anthony Vincent. But you can still search 10-second songs, but if you just search Anthony Vincent, you're going to find all my shit. I mean, on Instagram, Anthony Vincent Official, Twitter if you want, but I hate Twitter.
You don't like it? You don't like Twitter?
Sometimes I just put put whatever nonsense comes to my mind, which is not usually that entertaining. But Facebook, I guess I lose followers on Facebook every day now.
Facebook is dying.
By just I don't know. People know. I realize that so many people followed me. I guess, there is a really large number of people who only want to see people like sing a song for them or something. Like we're dancing monkeys. They don't even want to know. They don't want to see anybody even show any kind of personality.
There's nothing else to you. Yeah.
Right. So whatever. But I mean, I'm on Facebook. Just search Anthony Vincent.
Just search Anthony Vincent.
You'll find me.
Yeah. Anthony, you're great.
Well, thanks for having me on. This was fun.
This was great to talk to you.
Yeah, I hope I didn't go off on tangents.
No, they were all great and they were the tangents I wanted and needed. And I'll have to, maybe we'll try to schedule something at the new studio or do a reunion episode or something.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great if you and Frank come by. We'll have like one night or something. I know that Frank has like these. We do like late night shows now, Saturday nights. They're fun. They're a lot of fun. The last show we did was kind of like focused around like paranormal stuff, which was really cool. I don't know. We should do something like on a weekend. I don't know. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk. I'll have my people call your people.
Right.
Thanks, Anthony.
It was great talking to you. Have a good one.